makes over $100 million a year, they're going to just 20% tax on all of their income. Now, one of the problems about people that are this wealthy is they generally can afford to move. They can do tax havens. They can get around this stuff pretty easily. Two, the other part of the problem is there's only about 400 families that fall into this. So literally Biden's hope and prayer is a 20% tax on the 400 richest people. Again, am I opposed to that? Only in the sense of I know they always, quote, go after the rich, which ultimately is going to trickle down to us. Two, the rich are the most capable of getting out of this, so it's like an empty thing. And again, it feels like this is just meant to try to give him some credit with all the people that are the super crazy progressives. They're all about taking from the rich and giving to the poor, right? The Robin Hood kind of scenario. So I think it's a feeble attempt. I don't think it's going to work, but this is quote unquote what they're doing. Now, I do think it's funny that they're kind of going after the people that have been helping him. I mean, it's been the tech companies and these same uber wealthy individuals. But again, not your typical top 400 wealthiest families. Zuckerberg falls into that. So, hey, man, who knows? Who knows? Democrat lawyers apparently object to Durham asking potential jurors if they have links to Hillary Clinton's promotion of Russian collusion hoax. They don't like it. Sussman's lawyers don't want the Durham lawyers to be able to ask prospective jurors, hey, have you or anyone you know or anyone in your family ever been involved in any of Hillary Clinton's Russia collusion investigations, reports? Have they been tied into any organizations that have done stuff with it? Like, have you been involved in it in any way, shape, or form? Obviously, that would make you somewhat partial, right? And of course, Michael Sussman's lawyers are like, that's not fair. Nah, we don't like that. And they said they objected to Durham's prosecution request to ask the jury pool the same question related to any links to groups that have looked at or been tied to the Clinton campaign and or the Democratic National Committee's promotion of the Trump-Russia collusion narrative. They didn't really say why, per se, just they don't like it. And you can see why, because it would remove jurors that could possibly help give an appeal or overturn or a mistrial, or right. It could change things. Small business owners are getting ripped off regularly by petty thieves as the Soros-installed DAs do nothing. This is, of course, New York. A lot of businesses are literally just closing down. New York is in a really seriously bad place right now. You've obviously got these kinds of problems where people are just walking in and stealing stuff from these small stores. No one's doing anything about it. If they do get arrested, they're just right out immediately, and they go back and do the same thing the following day. So literally, companies are closing. They're shuttering. They can't. You can't keep stocking shelves only to have someone walk in and steal it from you. You can't afford that. Yeah, I mean, and people are like, well, they've got insurance. No, you don't. Not especially not small scale like that. And then it raises your rates. And then on top of that, they're going to eventually cut you off because you're in New York and no one's doing a damn thing about it. Now, what else is happening? We're actually seeing something I think larger that indicates a much bigger issue going on, certainly in New York, but this is sort of kind of what we're seeing in China and a lot of places. But Blackstone, as one example, just turned over the keys of a 26-story building in New York and Manhattan area, I believe. And they turned this building over to a servicing company. They paid some $605 million for it. They turned it over for something like $308 million. Basically lost they got about half of what they paid for it. And there are some other companies that are doing the same thing right now. There are a number of companies right now that are literally walking away from these large buildings, handing them back over to the bank, handing them over to servicing companies. They're out. They're screwed. They don't want anything to do with it. They can't afford it. And this shows you kind of the collapse of the bigger picture, and especially in New York because it's such a bad place, right? Defund the cops, all the crime rate, all the stuff happening. No one wants to be there anymore. No one wants to invest in there anymore. So now you've got all these buildings that people can't find tenants for. It's a huge problem, and much like in China, became a multi-billion-dollar issue. This might be the start or the canary in the coal mine, if you will, of some much, much larger problems that may be coming now. Well, again, we'll see. I don't want to be making promises, but it definitely seems that's the direction we're going. GOP Rep Fortenberry resigns from Congress after being convicted of lying to the FBI about foreign campaign contribution. Something doesn't smell right about this, and I know he's GOP, and I think there's a lot of people that are going to be like, that's not fair. Man, I'm all about getting rid of all the crappy people. I don't care if they're GOP. I don't care if they're Democrat. I don't give a crap. If they're corrupt, if they're breaking the law, I want them out. I want them out now. I want them out sooner than now. I don't give a crap what color they are. Because frankly, if they're breaking the law, they're probably more of a rhino, or they're definitely deep state, or they're compromised. Either way, get out. Don't have room for you. Let's replace you with someone that actually cares about this country. Let's replace you with somebody that's going to continue to fight for us, as opposed to, well, you, because you suck and you've been breaking the law. Yeah, bugger. And some people might say, he's a really good guy. Yeah, whatever. I think he was in there like 9 terms. Some crazy long time. So, yeah. Any of these guys that have been there forever and then they get busted for doing illegal shit, yeah, that's a problem. Tennessee school board member is caught on a hot mic asking colleagues, can we just go light Marsha Blackburn on fire? FYI, it's generally not okay to say that. Now, it was a hot mic conversation, so mostly it just makes the individual who said it look like a total horrible person. I don't think they're probably going to get in trouble. It is what it is. Hey, by the way, and this is pretty cool. Salty Cracker just did a show. I want to say it was on the 25th. And, I don't know, it was about 2 hours and 40 minutes into it. They actually referenced my Jumanji nickname that I gave her. And he loved it. That made me very, very happy. And eventually even someone even gave credit to me. And that was really cool. So, yeah, I got some call-outs on a very large show, and the salt must flow. I love that guy. He's hilarious. And his rants are just out of control. This guy is all into the thing. Anyway, good stuff. All right. Black Lives Matter. Accused of clear violations of the IRS rules. Charity status reportedly at risk. They said it was an accident, though. You know, it was an accident. But what happened was Black Lives Matter was taking donations for this fundraiser they were doing, a BLM. Let's see, the button, however, here it was. Okay, so the outlet reported Friday that new concerns arose this week after Black Lives Matter sent a message to its supporters that called for support for Supreme Court nominee Judge Ketanji Jumanji Brown Jackson and included a button to donate to the charity. The button, however, goes to the Black Lives Matter PAC, the group's affiliated political action committee. Problem is, using a charity to solicit political donations appears to be a clear violation of the IRS rules prohibiting charities from soliciting contributions to a political action committee. You can't use a charity to elicit donations for essentially a non-charity. Can't do it. Not allowed. So they said it was an accident. Oops. But they are likely going to be in big trouble. I had also read a story a while back that Hillary Clinton somehow has wrestled in control of the Black Lives Matter fund. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but again, that was a reasonably legit story that came out at one point. And we've also got a lot of questions around who actually does control what's going on with Black Lives Matter. So this seems to be kind of tied into shutting them down from being a money laundering scheme as well, and kind of taking away that that deep state, deep Democrats power, big dollars, deep pockets that they were utilizing with this whole Black Lives Matter organization. If this gets rustled away from the Democrat Party and they're no longer allowed to use this money and the whole Black Lives Matter charity and the whole race wars that they start every summer right before elections. Remember, the Black Lives Matter, we always see the spikes in donations. So a lot of things seem to be happening and are going to cause some major problems. Denver BLM protesters were awarded $14 million in damages by federal jury over injuries during violent riots. Literally. BLM rioters rioting in Denver, they won money because of damages. It just blows my mind. And that's what happens when you get a super crazy left-leaning city. They are literally willing to promote bad behavior in their own cities and then reward the criminals for the bad behavior. It's fantastic. God, it's a record-breaking, lovely idea. And just add final piece of insult to injury. Governor Gavin Newsom here in California. He has appointed the first openly transgender judge to the bench. Again, I mean, to each his own, got no qualms. It's a little scary when they get into the judge section, frankly, because transgenders represent a really small percentage of the population, and to get an overly large voice at the big table is a little concerning, especially considering what we've been seeing happen and the general idea of how this needs to be crammed down everyone's throat, that we need to make everyone's bathrooms boy and girl. So, if your little girl happens to be in a restroom, then some dude that feels like a woman can walk in and do whatever they want. Again, so many weird things that are happening. So this is just another example of what they're trying to do. Holding the line means we're not going to stop saying no. We're not going to give up. We're not going to stop talking about it. We're going to continue to remember who these people are. We're going to vote whoever we can out of office. We're going to vote whoever we can into office. We're going to keep fighting this fight. And there are going to be things we need to do. We need to get involved in local governments. We need to get involved in trying to make our local businesses, that level up thing I talk about, trying to bring back manufacturing, trying to enhance businesses. If you're someone that's got expertise in something that nobody knows how to do anymore, like plumbing, for example, we probably need to start considering teaching some more local people how to do some of this stuff, because we're going to have to rebuild a lot of our infrastructure that has just been taken advantage of now that we're getting the deep state out of the way. There's an entire growth process that comes after we wrestle control away from the deep state and then finally clean out the swamp. We've got years of work ahead. Cliff High is a great person that talks a lot about this stuff. I don't know if you guys check him out on a regular basis, but he's been doing a pretty bang-up job sort of looking out into the future a little bit. And we've got a number of years that we're going to be cleaning up this mess. But it's going to be probably one of the most amazing times in the history of this planet. Probably going to be something way surpassing what the Industrial Revolution was for us, because I think it's going to tie into a much larger global kind of concept. Maybe us exploring the solar system, maybe us building some sort of crazy craft in space, kind of like they did in that Star Trek movie, right? Who knows what kind of crazy world we could be finding out about, but there's a lot of lost technology. There's a lot of things that we have not been told about our history, and even about the history of this solar system for that matter. There's a lot that we have to figure out still. So stay strong. Know that this is just part of our experience. We will win this battle. We are winning the war. In the big picture, we're heading in the direction that we need to be heading. We are doing a lot better than I think a lot of people realize. Sure, it's not happening quick enough, but we are making progress. Where we go one, we go all.